Alright, good morning everybody and welcome to this noisy morning on the farm. If you have not caught on yet, today is weaning day. Now, weaning is when you separate the lambs from their ewes, their mamas, and we do this for a few reasons. So let's go over those reasons, because I know it looks mean and you think, do you have to do that or could you just leave them with them longer? Well, really and truthfully, because of our breed of sheep, no, we cannot. So this leads us to reason number one, that we cannot leave our lambs with the ewes any longer. This is because we have St. Croix sheep. And if you don't know anything about St. Croix sheep, you can check out my first video that I made about the sheep and I will link that below. You may not eat my hair. Babies. Anyway, St. Croix sheep are a hair sheep, so that means that their purpose is not producing wool. They are for eating. Since we have St. Croix sheep, it is important to know that St. Croix rams are capable of breeding back to their moms at 60 days. And we obviously do not want that to happen. So it was right about that mark, which is the appropriate time to wean your lambs anyway. And so we went ahead and took this opportunity. We decided this weekend was the weekend. One of the other obvious signs that it's time to wean those lambs is if you have a mama who is looking really skinny. We had one that was beginning to show some of those bones and her back was usually very rounded and it was beginning to look kind of like this. Now, to be fair, she was the sweet mama that had twin boys. She needed a break. The other reason that we are going ahead and weaning these lambs, it is more feed efficient. So we feed the ewes and then they feed their babies. Well, this is a very inefficient way to use your feed. And as we begin to feed more because there's less grass, it is more important to go ahead and wean these lambs because we can just go ahead and feed them directly and that saves us on feed costs in the long run. So since it is so important to wean these lambs early, let's talk about how you do that. You're going to need to prepare to wean these lambs 2 weeks before the actual weaning day. Now, this is the day that you could go ahead and get them their shots because things like shots really stress them out. And this is obviously going to be a very stressful process, as you can see. So you don't want to add any extra stress to that time when they are going through weaning. If you would like to do shots at this time, it either needs to be 2 weeks before they get weaned or quite a few weeks after they are already weaned. Now, you will see behind us, I'm obviously letting them be really close. I have fed them both hay so that they can kind of eat together, so they can have that togetherness. Now, there are farmers that like to separate the lambs somewhere where they are totally can't see their moms, can't do anything. But there are people that believe that this causes more stress than it would be if they can still see each other. So there are kind of two camps with that. Again, choose wherever your heart takes you. We will be able to put the baby female lambs back with their mamas as soon as the weaning process is done. Now the rams we are going to have to sell. We can't keep them. Like I said, it's not good for baby rams to breed back to their mothers. They're very affectionate these days. They need a lot of attention. So if you have the time, go ahead and give your lambs some attention. One of the other things that you're going to want to prepare before you separate these babies is make sure that they are used to eating some kind of solid food. Now, obviously ours are used to eating hay, but they are also used to eating our grain pellets that we provide for both the mamas and the babies. They've actually been drinking on their own, drinking water as well as the milk from their mamas since they were probably a week old. Now that was a necessity because it is so hot. This year in Texas it was extremely hot, so they've actually been drinking water along with the milk for almost their entire lives, just to stay hydrated during this really hot summer. So now let's talk about the mamas and how we're gonna feed them as we go through this transition. A few days before you start weaning, they need to be taken off of their grain and switched over to a low protein hay. Now this is going to make perfect sense because everything that we've been giving and doing for the ewes to promote milk production, we're going to stop doing anything that promotes milk production because we want them to dry up and stop producing milk as quickly as possible. So we're going to be only providing them hay. And if you're feeding any kind of alfalfa or anything with a high protein, you're going to need to switch over to a low protein hay. I need to keep everybody close. I need to keep the babies close to make sure that they are not getting a little skinny and make sure that they are eating properly. And during the very beginning of this transition time and until their udders begin to dry up and shrink, that is how long you need to provide them with the low quality, lower protein diet. Also during this time, you're going to be looking for signs of mastitis. Mastitis is when that milk gets like impacted into their udders because they're no longer being nursed, and there becomes an infection and the buildup of bacteria. So signs of mastitis are hard nipples. You're going to be needing to check those. Red, irritated looking, hot to the touch. You're going to have to call your local vet to come out and check, or you're going to need medication. Medication's the only way to get rid of mastitis. So there's not any way that I know of to take care of it on your farm without calling a vet. Okay everybody, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you can get notifications, and next time you can join me here on the farm. Bye guys!